Hey team, how are we doing? Hey everybody, how are you going? Let's make sure that we are going live and then I can edit this bit out at the end. If you are just joining us, hello, I'll be with you in just a second. Today we're going to be checking out how to book $100,000 worth of calls in 90 days. Welcome to the live stream. This is live. I'm here. Let me move this a little bit. And it looks like we're good to go. Just turn that up a fraction because that's quite quiet, isn't it? How are we doing now? And then we'll get rid of all of this. Maybe I need to just come way closer to the mic. Maybe I just need to be here. All right. And we can cut all this out on the live stream, team. Let me move this over. There we go. All right, so you can be quiet now. Excellent. Hey team, Mike here from Say Your Service. Welcome. This is live. I am here. We are absolutely going to be checking out how to book $100,000 worth of sales calls within about 90 days. If you want to grab a pen and paper, I highly recommend going ahead and do that because we are going to be literally going through this in real time. And yeah, let's jump into the screen share here. Excellent. So, why would you want to book $100,000 worth of calls? It might sound obvious, but to a lot of people, the concept of booking calls might seem a bit, unusual. We're all kind of used to the idea of having kind of traffic come in to a checkout page and immediately buying. This is a shopping cart, by the way. Immediately buying the product, and then maybe we manage to upsell them, but they're at least like kind of added to our list and we can market to them later. This concept of the marketing funnel using a checkout page like this, it works, but I have found personally, and I'm happy to be shown otherwise, and I'm sure there's very, very talented people out there who are much, much better at this than I am. If you want to sell anything over $5,000, you're probably going to need to jump on some kind of call. Not always. It's not always the case. My father-in-law is literally just telling me that he's just dropped like a ton of money on a brand new car. So in his case, he's like, yeah, whatever, he'll just buy it. But for a lot of us, for us mere mortals, you'll want to get on a call. And this is really basically down to trust. But also, and this is really, really important, the call is not for the customer. The call is for you. And I'll talk about why that's so important. So if we have a goal of $100,000, that's, I know it sounds like a huge amount of money. It's actually not a massive amount of money when we begin to break it down. That's $8,000 a month, roughly, which if you're selling a $2,000 product, maybe it's even a $2,000 a month product, that's only 4 clients. I know multiple people who only work with 4, 5, 6 people at a time, and they're all inside one group, and they're basically kind of like a round table, and they all have a conversation once a week, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about this. But these people are each paying $2,000 a month. Hey guys, how you doing? So if we want to sell something that is essentially the equivalent of $24,000, we're going to want to get people on calls. Now I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This is my absolute favorite funnel to implement with new customers. And the reason why it's my favorite is because everyone thinks booking calls is difficult. They think it's hard work. You've probably seen tons of adverts from people saying, you know, I can fill your calendar. Here's how to, you know, flood your calendar with appointments. Here's how to book a ton of appointments. I'm going to lay out exactly what they lay out, but obviously I'm not charging you anything. I'm just telling you how to do it. But if you want to really impress your customers, implement this funnel with them and they'll think you're a genius. Because as far as they're concerned, booking calls is the hardest part. And if you can book calls for them, they'll think you can do absolutely anything. So the way the sales process is going to work if we have our funnel, we have our traffic up here, we have our leads, and we have our sales. We are going to be booking calls at this point and this point. And I'm going to show you how to do this in a really effective way that makes driving traffic profitable. It also makes ads way more effective. And this is the part that has scaled my business to multiple 6 figures into 7 figures and beyond. It basically turns organic content into a sales machine. So I'll tell you, I want to show you a little a demonstration here. As you guys know, I sell high level predominantly, which is like software. I'll talk about it in a bit. I am an affiliate of them, obviously, so take that with a huge heaping grain of salt when I tell you it's the greatest platform on earth, because obviously, you know, I'm paid to say that. If we take a look at my videos, there was one video we released. Here it is. This video here, so far, has got 187,000 views. This video alone booked us so many calls that it catapulted us to the #1 affiliates or the #2 affiliate spot across the whole of High Level. Just this one video. Not because the video was so incredible it sold it, but because the call funnel, the call booking funnel on the back end was so powerful. Here's what's even crazier. If we go to my channel, some of these videos that have got like, what's this, 839 views. This was almost 2 weeks ago, and it hasn't even broken 1,000 views. This here has still done us around $2,000 worth of sales, even though the numbers are really, really small, again, because the call funnel on the back end is so powerful. Hey guys, how you doing? So, when we have a call funnel that's this powerful, if the content goes mega crazy viral, it'll obviously fill your calendar. But even if you're only getting a few hundred views on any kind of organic content, it can still generate massive high ticket 5-figure and 6-figure sales. So the method that I like to use is I like to build 3 pages. We're going to call this one the call page. This one here, confirmation. We're going to call this one the opt-in. The opt-in page is as simple as any other kind of opt-in page that you might create. This is basically, it's a headline. It's a button that opens up an opt-in form or a pop-up form. And maybe there's a video there, you know, like telling someone about the amazing thing that you've got for them. The opt-in page is almost irrelevant. And you'll see that when you start implementing this across like multiple funnels, it really begins to take off, because you think actually the front end opt-in part almost doesn't matter, because the real action happens afterwards when they're presented with a call page. So when we look at an opt-in page, the idea is I'm simply trying to say to my audience, hey, I've got this free resource. Maybe it's a free training, a free webinar, template, swipe file, whatever it is. Why don't you sign up, give me your email address, give me your phone number. It's critical. Your email address, your phone number, and your name. Now, if you're thinking that there's no way that I give my phone number to people, A, that's not true. My database is full of literally tens of thousands of people with verified phone numbers. And 2, your job as a marketer, if you want to collect people's data, their information, their name, their email address, and their phone number, you need to give them something that is so valuable and clear that they're willing to give you their phone number for it. That's how important this is. I don't want you to think about this in terms of what you know. You might know as a marketer, well, if I give my phone number, I'm going to get texts and calls and I'll have to unsubscribe. Fine. You have had a peek behind the curtain. You are inside the matrix, seeing the way that the process works. Your customers are not that sophisticated. They don't necessarily know that. They are thinking, That seems fair. Maybe they want to have a conversation with me later. The funny thing about conversions, and I've never really understood why this is so strange for people or difficult for people to understand. If you feel, well, I don't want to ask for people's phone numbers, how are you going to feel when you ask them for $25,000 or $50,000 or $10,000? You need to be able to say to yourself confidently, yeah, this resource is well worth a phone number. And I believe that people won't want to unsubscribe or click off. You got to break out of this mindset of thinking that you are your customer. You're not. Think about it from another perspective, right? Only recently we've been looking at like getting solar panels installed on the house. And every single person we've called has obviously said, what's your name? What's your address? What's your phone number? And what's roughly your budget? And I've thought, well, this is really good. I want them to have a conversation with me. I want them to pitch and sell solar panels because I'm looking to get solar panels and a battery. So I'm willing to give them my information because I want to get this in return. You have to stop thinking, yeah, but if I add a phone number, it will decrease the likelihood. Yeah, then that means they probably weren't interested in buying in the first place. Would you rather have 100,000 people who aren't interested or 10 people who are interested? I know which I'd rather go for. So in this case, we are going to be collecting their name, email, and phone. Now, this is where the magic happens. After they opt in, you're going to redirect them to a page, and the sole purpose of this page is to book a call. Now, in terms of the layout, I keep it nice and simple. Again, I just have a video, I have a button, and then I might have a calendar underneath. In fact, I think I might even have a picture that I tend to, like this one here. Copy. Can I paste this in? No. I'll see if I can find an example. I'll see if I can find an example in a bit. The book a call page is really, really simple. It's just got a calendar integration. Now, again, things like High Level, which again, I'm an affiliate of. So if I promote it and buy it, I'll probably get a cut if you use the link. They have all this kind of stuff built in. It's one of the reasons that I use them. And so when I'm redirecting a customer to the page, to the call booking page, I don't know what's going on with my screen right here. What we do is we present them with an offer to book a call. Now, if you're thinking, yeah, but I don't know how to get them on a call. I know as the seller, I just want to get them on a call so I can sell something. I want you to flip your mindset. And this is how we do this. Your offer works across the entire spectrum of the customer's life. Now, what I mean by this is, let's say you are a marketer and your core role is you help e-commerce businesses, launch a $100,000 campaign. And you say that you can do this without ads, and you say you can do it even if that would be like a record sale amount for them. Okay, that's a pretty solid e-commerce offer, in my opinion. Hey, Colin, good to see you, mate. Your offer in terms of the lead, in fact, even beyond, we've got a question here. What type of content will get them attracted and make them interested? The offer, anything around the offer, it has to be all the same. So your content here shows them how to do this or talks about how to do this. Your lead magnet, your opt-in, does the same thing. The call does the same thing as well. And any kind of product or service does the same thing as well. The difference, and this is really critical to understand, is faster and easier. Think about the way that the funnel works, right? If we have people at the top, we have our audience, and they have a problem. And in our particular example, it was what e-commerce stores have $100,000 launch without using ads, even if, oh, sorry, I'm blocking my own screen here. Like that. E-commerce businesses, you want to have $100,000 launch without ads, even if, you know, that's their like biggest record launch to date. Great. If we create content up the top, that's going to solve that problem. And I might say something like, here's a case study of someone who did that exact thing. Now, if you would like that same result, 100K launch, you know, whatever it was, 90 days, no ads, whatever, why don't you download our 100K swipe file? All right. And you say, we basically just listed out everything that you'd need to do this exact type of program or content, right? Or get this type of result faster and easier. If you're watching this live stream, in fact, I'll do this to you right now, right? If you're watching this live stream, you think this is fine, but I would love if Mike had already built the funnels for me. If you head over to sellyourservice.co.uk/high level and sign up, there's a 30-day free trial, I think, and I've built this funnel for you. Faster and easier. I'm talking about it here in the content, but if you would like it faster and easier, why don't you sign up to the next stage? Does that make sense? And then you state, well, how about we get this result faster and easier? Why don't you jump on a free 10-minute call with me or a member of my team, and we'll build this for you in 10 minutes. So you might call this like, I don't know, a $100,000 launch call or something like that. It's kind of branding it. It's making the call into a product. Now, the mistake people make is they say, why not jump on a free consultation call? Yeah, idiot. I know it's a free consultation call. I wouldn't pay you anyway. Instead, if I say to someone, why don't you jump on a $100,000 launch call with us in 10 minutes, we could see if we could generate you a $100,000 launch. They go, oh my God, that sounds incredible. I definitely love that. Fantastic. And then, would you like to be a part of our $100,000 launch, program or process or whatever it is? It's the exact same offer all the way through. Each stage of the funnel is just helping the audience get that same result faster and easier. If your customers and leads aren't getting the same result at each stage in the funnel, depending on, right, the speed at which they get the result here is directly proportional to the amount of money that they spend. If they want really fast results, they've got to spend big money. If they don't have that kind of budget and they're only looking to spend a little bit, then they'll get the results, but it'll take them a lot longer. That's how I want you to think about your funnel, is going through that process. And so the call funnel, when we talk about booking a call, it literally is positioned as, and I must have one here. I know I've got one here, because of course we've got all of our pages. Here we go. Book a 10-minute revenue audit with a revenue specialist. If you're a funnel agency generating at least 10K a month, you might be a few strategies away from doubling your monthly revenue. This was the one that catapulted us to I mean, it went nuts. 2022 and 23 were just absolutely insane, and 21 because of this page. And I got people to book a call. Now, this started with, I think it was the 25K roadmap. The lead magnet was how to make $25,000 with your current agency. How to make $25,000 a month. Would you like to get that result faster and easier? Why not book a free 10-minute call with our revenue audit specialist, and we'll see if we can get you that kind of result even faster. Same with you guys. If you would like these funnels built for you, this funnel pre-built for you, I've included it. If you head to this link, where am I? Here. sellyourservice.co.uk/high level, and you can actually get all this pre-built for you. Here's the key. After they book the call, we want to confirm with them a ton of stuff. We want to confirm date, time, what's going to happen on the call, a brief agenda. Now, I don't have time to go into this. This is like an entire kind of series and program in and of itself. But confirming the call, and also I give a secondary little video to say, thanks very much for signing up. Here's the call details. We'll be jumping on Zoom. Make sure you're in a quiet room, have a microphone, all this stuff. Make it super, super simple. And I will send them reminders, because with a confirmation page, the likelihood of them joining the call goes up. It's one thing to have people book a call. It's another to have them join it. The magic of this happens at this point. When we realize, okay, we have a call confirmation page, a call booking page that we know converts. It's got a calendar, it's got a video on it, it's got a button that leads you back to the calendar, it's got a nice catchy branded headline. We now know that whatever lead magnets we've got, whatever offers we've got, we're just going to redirect them to the call booking page. And that's what we did. We switched all of our other video sales letters off, and we only had it to book a call. So every other opt-in we had around the world from decades ago, and I'm talking from our Facebook group, back when we ran a group, our YouTube channel, Instagram, again, when we had Insta, Twitter, my books, when I would do what we call mail drops. So I would be like on someone else's list. We were constantly giving away like free, templates, resources, swipe files, all this type of stuff. And we would drag people back to these types of pages, and all of them would go back to a call booking page. When we ran a free webinar, and we said, right, we're going to do a brand new webinar, and we're going to put some money behind it with some ads. We're going to drive a ton of traffic to this webinar. What do you think we redirected people to? Call booking page. And the key was making sure that everybody understood that if they wanted to get this kind of result here, if they were signing up for a webinar on how to lose 10 kilos, in 6 weeks, this would be a free 10-minute, 10 kilo fat burner call. Like, let's uncover the top 3 things that you could do today that would help you lose 10 kilos in just 10 minutes. We would brand it like that. So the way you want to start thinking about your calls is the same way you start thinking about, well, how do I immediately pitch and sell something to someone afterwards? Now, what we would actually build, a call funnel, this is kind of like the call booking part. A call funnel is actually kind of 2 stages, where the first call is only 10 minutes long. The next call is about 45 minutes long. I have been able to sell up to $100,000 worth of content products. So I've charged $100,000 to someone. We took a $10,000 deposit. So I took a $10,000 payment and deposit on a 45-minute call. What a lot of people do when you have a call with someone is they'll say, yeah, I'll do a free call with you. And it essentially changes into a free, now let me know if this is you. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat. It ends up turning into a free 2-hour coaching call. Let me know if that's you. And you basically have a tiny, tiny little bit to sell at the end. Maybe not at all. And we do this under the guise of saying, well, I'm going to position more value. If I help them out and if I show them something and show them how knowledgeable I am and tell them how brilliant I am, and they see the kind of results and they see the type of help that I'm giving them, they'll think I'm valuable. Therefore, they'll think I'm more likely to buy. And that is fundamentally incorrect. That is not how human beings work. What ends up happening is the more value you give them, which is actually help, the less likely they are to buy. Actually, that's not right, is it? The more value, the less likely they are to buy. Yeah, so it is like that. What you actually want to do is position it down here. Now, I know that sounds insane, but here's how we do this. The free, if we look at the way our funnel is going to work, the free call is 10 minutes long. We have positioned this as, let me see if, critical, I can help you hit a $100,000 launch for your e-commerce business, even if it's the largest launch you've ever done, and do it without ads. Hold on. Let me see if I can do that. And then on this call, we basically ask them a ton of questions because you need to see if they're capable of doing that. You might say, do you have a current email list? They say, yeah. You go, okay. How many customers are you working with right now? 10, 100, 1,000? What's your biggest launch so far? What's your content budget for this? What type of product are you selling? How many products will we have to sell if we hit 6 figures? And you are basically trying to see, well, do I think they've got the right stuff as a checklist to be able to go through and do this? And if they do, if you think they've got, on this call, budget, authority, need, time scale, and suppliers. If they've got the budget, hey, so how much are you planning on spending on doing this $100,000 launch? Oh, we don't have any budget at all. Okay, I don't think we're the right program for you because obviously I need to pay the bills and eat. So I don't think this is going to be a good position. However, we've got tons of free content on our YouTube channel. Oh, in that case, or a different one. Yeah, we've got about $25,000. Fantastic. And are you the sole decision maker for this project? Yes, I am. Great. So tell me what it is you actually need. Well, we've got a brand new product coming out that's going to be $100 and we basically need to launch it to 1,000 people, but we don't really want to spend any money on ads. Fantastic. When are you thinking of doing this? Time scale? What's the urgency? Probably in the next 3 months. Excellent. Who else are you working with? Well, we also work with, Shopify and we have Facebook ad specialists and blah, 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 whatever. If they are qualified, we then send them through to a 45-minute call. That's how this works. And on the 45-minute call, again, we dig deep. We ask them a bunch of questions and we figure out, can we get them these types of results? And if we think we can, we say, yeah, I think I can help you do this. You've probably got a bunch of questions. Tell me what you think. What are your biggest questions? And they'll say, how much? How does it work? When can we start? And you answer them and you close them. It really isn't not as complex as that. So to recap, and I'll answer some questions, guys. So please throw them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them as best I can. If you want to book $100,000 worth of calls in the next 90 days, move people to a call booking page that looks a lot like this. Brand it. Give it a name. Make it, the call isn't the goal. The call is getting them the same kind of result. Focus it around the result that you're getting them. We help e-commerce businesses launch a $100,000 campaign for new products without ads, even if that would be a record month. Great. Let's see if we can do that in 10 minutes for you. That's how you book a call. And then you make sure that they're confirmed on the call. Okie dokie, let's go. Questions. So, thanks very much. Excited to be part of this workshop. I hope it's working well for you. Thank you very much. What type of content will get them attracted or make them interested? So I'm going to presume that there's a bit of when you say make them interested, you can't make someone interested in something. They're either interested in it and they're not. But I will say this. If you look at your audience, and you know who they are. The reason people struggle to create content is for one of two reasons. Either they have no idea who their audience is, or they have no idea who their audience is. That's the only reason people struggle to create content. If you say, oh, our content is, or our business is aimed at small businesses, that is such an enormous portion of the market that you might as well say it's aimed at human beings. What you need is specificity. You need to say, we specialize in working with people who sell physical products. They sell predominantly online. They currently have an ads budget. Maybe they spend $5,000 a month on ads. Their physical product they sell is predominantly in the health and wellness space. And typically their average order value is about $50. And they also have multiple platforms. And you go into depth as to who that ideal customer is. Now, most of you here are what I call a boutique business, right? So you have hobby business. These are the people in like Fiverr, Etsy. These are people who are just kind of like getting a bit of extra side hustle and a little bit of extra money. Then you have scale businesses. These people are interested in getting literally hundreds of thousands of customers. Then you have your corps who have hundreds of thousands of customers. And then people in the middle, you have your boutiques. Now, a scale business could have anywhere from 100 to 100,000 customers. A boutique business is going to have anywhere from 10 even to 1,000. Way smaller. You do not need to, when people go broad, it's because they go, oh, because I don't want to cancel anyone out. Yeah, but you're only looking for 10 people. If you had 10 people paying you $2,000 a month, that is a $20,000 a month business. You have broken 240,000. You're making $250,000 a year from 10 people. It's not only doable, it's actually extremely achievable, and it doesn't require a massive amount of work. Could you have a call or 2 calls a week, a Tuesday and a Thursday, with a group of 5 people and another group of 5 people, and any problems they've got, send that over to a team who then implement for them? I know you can, because I've done it, and I am the world's laziest business owner. That's exactly how I ran my agency. Is I made sure I worked with a very specific group of people. We only worked with a handful at a time, and we said, okay, what's your biggest problem this week? Oh, we don't know how to create content. Fantastic. Here's a quick workshop. Spend 45 minutes talking about it. If you want some help with that, we'll send that over to our team, and they'll get it done for you. Because we were making about 36,000 a month with the number that we had, which meant that I had plenty of people to be able to send work over to. I could hire lots of people. So when you think about creating content, who is it that you're trying to create content for? And then what are their problems? Now, their problems are not, and this is something that people refuse to understand, their problems are not, they need a marketing consultant. They want to understand how to do SEO. They want to understand how to do ads. No, they don't. They want to understand how to sell. They want to understand how to make money. They want to understand how to make cash. They want to understand how to make revenue. Your customers' problems are not the things that you're doing. No one in my space is asking, how do I create a Google Doc? And yet the majority of my business is built around Google Docs. Those Google Docs help you sell marketing funnels for $25,000. That's the problem. How do I launch a new $100 product and sell 1,000 of them so we have a 6-figure launch? That's a problem. That is what your content should be about. So when we say, what type of content should I produce in order to get them interested? Who is it that you're trying to talk to? What is the problem? Create the content around that. That's how you create content. Cheers, Colin. Awesome. Love that photo of you, mate. Hello, hello, hello. Very true. Good. I'm glad. How to use organic lead to coaches. Sorry, if you could maybe try rephrasing that. Maybe go to ChatGPT, translate it, because I'm not sure entirely what you mean. For which type of traffic does this funnel work? Cold, warm, hot, anything, any type of traffic. Here we go. Yeah, I'll talk about that, Colin. The best lead magnet, because it's a fair question. I just don't think it's necessarily super important, but I will talk about that. So what type of traffic does this work for? I'll show you. So if we have completely cold, now bearing in mind, no one here should be cold emailing. Cold call or cold DM. For the amount of time that you spend doing cold work, you won't get as many leads or sales as I would creating content. if you feel, well, cold emailing is the only way for me to get work, ask yourself, how long have I been doing it now and how many results have I gotten? What if I put all that time and energy into creating one super valuable, useful video that was specific to my audience that they wanted to watch? Now, yeah, I would argue that creating that one piece of content is probably harder. It absolutely is, but it lives forever. Now, personally, I actually don't mind cold calling. A big misconception that I have is that everyone thinks I don't like cold calling. I do like cold calling. I just think people do a really shit job of it. So I'm not going to teach people how to do it because everyone takes the wrong lessons away from how to do correct cold calling. If you don't know, and this is an absolute core principle of sales, right? Regardless of marketing, regardless of all the fucking idiot guru bullshit artists, marketers out there and all the crazy clever influencers driving around in their Lambos, a cold, hard fact of sales is if you cannot create some kind of content that gains attention, you will never get successful results from cold calling. And I'll tell you why. When you position yourself in the marketplace like this, and this is all swimming in the marketplace, right? This is everyone. And then we have all our little fishies like this. I remember when they used to teach us this when I worked at Symantec. That's really funny. And now I'm teaching it to you guys. Right, loads of little fishies. If I put some bait in there on a hook, we get another one, we put another one in, and all of them swarm to this one here. All of them. Does it matter how many more baits and hooks I put in of the wrong type? Of course it doesn't. And you would go, yeah, well, of course it doesn't. That's dumb. Here's why this is important. I will now take, well, what converted on essentially this organic content? Why did this work? Why was this valuable and useful? By the way, this is the same for ads as well. You shouldn't be doing ads in the same way you're doing cold calling. Everyone likes to think ads, cold calling, or organic. Everyone likes to think for some reason that ads and cold calling are the first thing you should be doing, and they're not. The first thing you should be doing is organic and scaling out to cold calling and scaling out to ads. If I create an offer, and the reason why I know this is because we teach this, and this is how we made our first $1 million with our video hosting platform 100 years ago when I first started a business, right? We would say, hey, if you're looking for a video hosting platform, why don't you come and have a conversation with us? And we can talk you through all of the ways that we have this incredible encryption and very fast delivery process. This is when things like Wistia and Vimeo were starting out. We also had a video learning platform specifically designed for universities. Eventually, a member of our team, really, really smart, said, well, what about if we said we can get your students to complete courses? And we were like, oh my God, that's genius. And wouldn't you know it, we had a ton of people interested in that offer. Then we took that same offer and we cold called out with that. That's when we would start dialing for deals, because we then say, hey, hi there, Mr. Jacobs. My name's Mike Killen. Ian Smith has asked me to send over a white paper about how we're able to get student course completion rates from 40% up to 60%. Would you be the best person to send that over to? They go, yeah, I would absolutely be the best person to send it to. Bam. That's a cold call that works. The lesson that people take away from cold calling is you just got to keep doing it. You got to keep dialing for dollars, but they never tweak the offer. Instead, if you come up with an offer that naturally attracts organic traffic, you are more likely to have a successful ads and cold calling campaign. And I know there's guys out there with bigger channels and bigger businesses who teach the exact opposite of this, and that's fine, but you could take their courses 30, 40, 50, 60 times, and I guarantee you will never see success because they are teaching the wrong half of the formula. So instead, focus first on, can I even get organic traffic first and get anyone to be interested in this first, then scale it out towards ads and cold calling. To answer your question, Black Lion Ethiopia, this works for any stage of the funnel. We're up here and we have completely cold, right? People who are completely uninterested, who have never heard from you before, because that's what a marketing funnel is, taking someone who has never heard from you before and turning them to a happy, profitable repeat client who refers you to their friends, right? We have them on cold, and then we've got warm. So I would have cold as ads cold calling and also cold organic traffic, right? So if we go into like, YouTube traffic, I can see if it's the first video of mine that they've seen, right? That's how I would put this. I would still put lead magnets in front of them that say, hey, why not download our free $10,000 worksheet, that would then book them into a call. A warm person I would have as already on my list. I send emails to them saying, why not book a call with us? Or even send them the same lead magnet page again and they have them go through that same process. And then someone who's hot is someone who is basically buying now. In my opinion, you wouldn't need to use it on someone like this because they're already in the process. But if you think they are hot and they haven't jumped on a call with you, offer them a call. Say to them, hey, why don't we just jump on and have a conversation for 10 minutes and see how that works? So, Colin, I have a love-hate relationship with this question because I think, again, people take the wrong information away from it. I'm glad you asked it because it is also an element that's, nice and simple. The best lead magnet I have ever seen convert. All right, there's two answers to this. The best one in terms of like the time to income ratio is literally what you're seeing right now is whiteboards. So you'll see on all of my videos, for the most part, the recent ones, I'll say, hey, here's how to make $2,000 a second, using some bullshit hype marketing solution or whatever. By the way, if you want to download the whiteboard, head over to go.sellyourservice.co.uk/whiteboards. You can get this for free. What that means is every video I do where I create a whiteboard, I just add that to the next page, to the same delivery page. So there's actually like a library of them. And it means that when someone goes through to a singular landing page, even though they've all come from completely different videos, because the lead magnet is the same, they're all going through to the same page. So in terms of a, effort to result, this is a really crazy powerful one. The actual best performing ever, you're welcome, mate, that's not a problem. The best performing lead magnet ever was a real simple checklist. That's all it was. I think it was something along the lines of a $10,000 a month checklist. So have you got all of these things in place in order to start making $10,000 a month? Now, I like quizzes because, best lead magnet. Do you really want like a really high value or a really high number of people? It depends. We've had quizzes that have done really well where we've put a ton of money behind the ads. And while that only produced, hundreds of leads, the value of each lead was very, very high. And I think it was something like we closed around like 40% of all the people who opted in, which was like really high for us. But then on the other side, like just a Loom, doing a Loom video and saying, I'm going to take you through how I set up the world's most incredible YouTube studio for under $50 and how I made my first 1 million views. And you could just record that as a Loom and say to people, if you want the link to that, just head over to website.com/YouTube and get it that way. The checklist, the lead magnet effectiveness has nothing to do with the actual content itself. It's to do with, again, the offer. So if we go back to really early on in our process, I talked about here, this part here is the bit that matters. That's actually what's important. The delivery of the lead magnet is almost irrelevant. I hope that makes sense. Good question, though. What services should I choose to offer when I have experience in content scripting, ads, and funnel building? I feel like I can't offer something too broad. You're correct. And the correct answer to this question, by the way, is the service has got nothing to do with it. What you need to think about is here's all the skills I have. And maybe you've done this exercise. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. Here's all the skills I have. So you say, copy, AI, funnels, whatever. Right? You then need to think about, okay, well, what are the problems that I solve? Now, here's the mistake people make. They say, oh, well, I can build funnels. So the problem I solve is people who don't have funnels. That's not a problem at all. That's not a problem at all. No one wakes up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my God, I need to have a funnel built for me. No one does that, right? It's not a problem. A problem is people who really struggle with cash flow and paying their bills, feast and famine. A problem is retaining customers. A problem is a really shitty lead to sale conversion ratio, right? They generate tons of leads. They have a marketing company that spends billions on ads, but they're not able to close any of their customers. You then need to think, okay, well, what type of people have these problems that would want my skills that I would also want to work with? And you say, well, garden centers have that problem. I'm not really interested in working with garden centers. Okay. Authors have that problem. I'm not really interested in working with authors. Okay. SaaS businesses have this problem. Oh, actually, they have a really lousy lead to sale conversion rate. They have a problem with retention and they want to grow their recurring revenue. Funnels and copy can help that and solve those problems. Therefore, I should work with that type of business. Now, there's a second stage to this, which is like, do you like working with them? Can you get them results? And can they afford you? Because you then want to say like, well, do I work with flagships, SaaS businesses, micro SaaS businesses in the webcam space or whatever it is? I don't know. But you then need to subdivide it down. You will make more money if you can get a PhD in skills or services or customer problems if you focus on getting a PhD in your customers' problems, you will be extremely wealthy. People who invest all their time in skills become employees. I am the least talented marketer and funnel builder in my whole company. I sell them for a living. I sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of them for a year for a living. And I'm the least talented marketer in my company. What I'm really good at, better than possibly anyone in the world, is understanding how do marketing funnel businesses sell products to their customers. How can I get them to charge $25,000? That no one in the world can touch me at. And yet I hire people who have got master's degrees and what do you call them? MBAs. Very, very smart people, but they're employees. So in terms of what services should you choose to offer, that's completely irrelevant. What you should be thinking is, who do I want to work with? And what is their big problem? Now, the key is making sure that that problem costs more than $25,000 and you can service it for $25,000. If there's a cruise ship, is this sort of how they look now? Like this? I don't know. I've never been on one. You got your engine, right? And it breaks. And they have to send you over and you can ship it. It's something like these ships cost something like $1 million a day to run or something like that. I think I've read that. So every single 24-hour period that clocks around, they lose $1 million. If you said to them, well, give me 100,000 and I can fix this, they'll give you that 100,000 because that is a 10x ROI. Now, if you go down to the engine and you discover that, oh, it's actually just this tiny little nut here is broken, let me replace that. Good, it's away, it's on its way. The fact that the nut costs you, 1 cent or whatever, and you charge them $100,000 is irrelevant because they've made $1 million on hiring you. That's how you should be thinking about it. And yet, I've got no idea what the services are in this tiny little person's service ship that they've sold. That's not how you want to think about it. I hope that makes sense, mate. It's a great question. I really like answering that question. So I appreciate you sending it in. Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Remember, I am an affiliate of High Level, so anything I say, take it with a grain of salt, because I make money every time I promote them. But if you do want this funnel pre-built for you, as well as a dozen other and a ton of training, especially on how I started a marketing funnel business that turned over $10,000 a month within 90 days, go ahead and use that link down below. You can get a free 30-day trial, start reselling it to your customers. Very, very powerful. Sellyourservice.co.uk/high level. In the meantime, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will catch you on the next one. Make sure to send me emails with any questions. And in the meantime, have courage, commit, and take action. Okay, bye, guys.